Greetings and welcome to a Nikkei video. So today we are going to be discussing a problem that is not immediately evident, but will become a very major problem for free-to-play players in the not too distant future. And that problem is the way this game handles, well, technically, your power level, which is what you do to gauge your strength in one place or the other, especially in the campaign. So let us explain, shall we? So the problem we are talking about here is the power level gap between level 2, well, 2-star rarity and 3-star rarity Nikkei. And inherently in a normal gacha, this is not a bad thing. It's what drives the gacha economy, it's what gets the company the money they need to keep developing the game, it's what makes players happy when they get a 3-star character. But that problem is compounded in this particular game because of the way power works in the campaign map and the amount of power you need in order to clear certain maps. So if we compare here I am just 1000 over. Now this means that I should have no problem clearing this fight here. But if, let's say, we go up here, actually I don't think we can go up there yet. We have to go around, we would have to go back there. Actually, if we go here, we pop up there, and then we come over here. Let's inspect this once here. It's about the same thing. So in both of these fights, I should have no problem clearing the event, especially since I'm not running any close range, so they won't have any damage reduction or anything like that. However, in my experience while going through the campaign, a difference of 500 is not insurmountable. A difference of 1000 in power is significant to the point where you will need some luck or maximum planning in order to clear a level. And 1500 or more difference, you're just not going to beat that level no matter what you do. And that is the problem. The power of your squad is determined indirectly and somewhat directly by your Nikkei's maximum level that they can reach. Normally for 2-star characters like Rappy and the rest of the squad that you get through the story, that is 160. As you can see, she has got 2 stars lit up, meaning we have given her 2 copies of herself to limit break. That's what this is here. And so her maximum level is 160. Now, if we compare that to Laplace here, she can have 3 copies inserted in her, and that means her maximum level is 200. And those 40 level differences may not seem like a lot, but once you level up a Nikkei by 5 levels and suddenly you're able to clear 2 or 3 more campaign stages, you notice a difference pretty drastically. Also, let's not forget that the higher the level, the higher their stats, and the higher the percentages that have in their abilities will start affecting. So when you're lower level, 2.6 extra attack from 100 is not much, but when you're dealing tens of thousands of damage, that's an extra 100 attack per bullet, and that starts getting really ridiculous and actually making a big difference. So that is a problem. The problem is that the Nikkes that we can easily get to level 160 are limited to level 160, and eventually we will come into a wall where we will need Nikkes beyond level 160 in order to be able to progress. And this is an even greater problem when certain time-limited banners, like I've read up that Modernia's future banner will require you to beat a certain campaign stage in order to be able to use it, starts popping up. So if you can't progress through the story, you can't pull on the new characters, which means you get this, you're not incentivized to progress through the ban. You can't actually go through the campaign, so you can't pull, and so you leave the game and the company is in trouble. Because players are leaving and they're left with only whales, and whales alone are not enough to keep a game going. So we need solutions for these problems. So I have 3 possible solutions for this problem. One relatively easy to implement, and one medium difficulty, and one that would require a lot of work but would probably make everyone a lot happy. Probably all 3 of these solutions are combined would be the best. But let's talk about them, shall we? So the first solution that I came up with is fixing the social point gacha, well, banner or recruit or whatever you want to call it. The problem this banner has is it has 2 problems. One is that you are not given mileage tickets for pulling on the banner, which kind of sucks, but it's kind of understandable since these are technically free pulls. The other problem is it takes 10 points for a single recruitment. And if you're like me and you haven't played from the very beginning and have your entire friend list full of people, it takes you probably around 10 days to get enough to pull 1 banner. Now, it is possible to pull SSR characters, as you can see, but that's 2%. You're really not expecting to get any of them on this banner. SR characters, you can get a couple per banner, that's not that difficult, and then it's pretty much cannon fodder. So this banner is really mostly to get points to enhance your base core. So what I would do is, one, allow this banner to give out several tickets, which you can then exchange in the mileage shop for characters here. As you can see, not all characters are available, which is honestly fine. But if we could at least get, let's say, 5 of these characters over and over again to get them to their level 200 limit, and then level them so that through the synchronization system of the game, we can have all of our Nikkes at level 200, that would be a significant improvement. I would also add to the fact that I would reduce the recruitment cost from 10 to 5, or at least reduce it from 100 to, say, 75 or 80, so that you're incentivized to do save up and do multiples. That way, the more you pull, the more chance you have of getting the Nikkes you need and to break the level 160 barrier that we are trying to break through right now, so we can get through the story and we can unlock the limited banners that will coming in the future. So that is the easiest way to fix this problem. It's not the best, but it would solve the problem. But let's talk about the second solution, shall we? So the second solution involves taking ideas from another game and implementing a unique equipment system. So what this equipment does in the other game is it increases their stats by an okay amount, but it grants one of their abilities an additional effect, the strength of the effect varying from character to character. So in this instance, let's say we use that system to allow 2-star characters like Rappy and Neon and the rest of their squad to, 1, give them an additional effect on one of their abilities, but 2, most importantly, gives them an extra 40 levels. That way they can reach the level 200 barrier that we are trying to get to. So how would this work? Well, let's say you finally got your Neon all the way up to the level 160 properly, like actually leveled up, not through the synchro system. At this point, a certain mission would pop up in the campaign menu, and in that mission, let's say you can only use the Nikke in question and the rest of her particular squad. So let's see, who is the rest of her squad? It should tell us here. Oh yeah, counters. So during that map, you can only use the 3 Nikke from her squad. So if we're working with Neon, you can only use Neon, Rappy, and Anise. And in that map, a certain item, item X would drop, and after you get a certain amount of that item, you can forge it into a unique equipment that would go into a new category down here. And that equipment would grant her, let's say, what ability of hers is relatively weak? This one right here. Let's say instead of just critical rate, it also increases critical damage. As an example, it would grant her this, and would grant her the extra 40 levels she needs to reach 200. And that would be it. That's all you would really need to solve this level 200 problem. Now, the only problem with this one is it requires a little bit more programming, a little more creativity, and balancing of maps for a 3 Nikke squad instead of a 5. So that's the only downside with this particular system, but it would be a more interesting system than just fixing the social point banner that we just looked at. But as we said, it requires a little more planning and creativity on the developer's part, but it's not a bad system. And lastly, let's go over the last possible solution, shall we? So the last way I can fix this system is with what is called in other games called welfare characters. Now, normally in other games, these welfare characters are the second best rarity, so in this case, it would be 2-star rarity characters, and they're usually okay, they usually have unique mechanics, and they're fun to collect. However, that is not good enough for what we're trying to do here. We're trying to break the level 160 barrier. So in this game, we would actually make them 3-star characters. So let's say, I don't know, we have a summer event, and in that summer event, we get a summer Rappy character that is a 3-star character. If we progress through a certain part of that story, we would get Rappy herself, and then we can use the event currency from that event in order to buy the other 3 copies of her that we will need in order to allow her to reach level 200. That would require a lot more programming because, 1, we need to create a brand new event, we need to create brand new characters. Even if we just recycle their poses and change their outfits, it would require balancing, of the currency and all that stuff. But it would be the more enjoyable solution because, 1, we get new characters to collect that we don't need to pull for. We can level them up, allowing us to break the level 160 barrier. They can probably have unique mechanics that may not be the strongest, but could be fun. Like, let's say we get a summer Neon right here, and instead of a shotgun, she has a water cannon. That would be fun. And that would also solve the problem of needing 5 Nikkes at level 200, because once you get 5 at level 200, you can use the synchronizing system to get everybody to 200. And that would solve the problem. A nice little neat solution. A little complicated because of the programming required, and we would probably require some developers to be taken away from the core development of the game to develop these events, but I think it would be a pretty good solution. So out of the 3 solutions I suggested, the fixing the social banner, the unique equipment, and the welfare characters, which one do you think would be the most effective in this particular game? I'm inclined towards the unique equipment and or the welfare characters. And I think both of those would work well. Obviously, I would love to see all 3 of these changes be made, but I don't think it would ever happen. But one of these 3 solutions would help alleviate the problem, 2 would definitely fix it, and all 3 would be absolutely amazing. But that's not for me to decide. So what do you think? What solutions can you think of that would help solve this problem, other than throwing literal money at the game? So anyway, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.